2023. Would you all please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on our agenda this evening is approval of the minutes of February 27, 2023. Is there a motion?
Can I make that motion?
You may, Mr. Sullivan. It's been moved by Mr. Sullivan and seconded by
Second.
Mr. Foss to approve the minutes of the February 27, 2023 meeting. Any discussion?
There's just an edit that I had on.
Mr. Gaffney, are you all set with the, you're going to make an amendment to the minutes? or-
Please. The amendment was just a comment on the, I think it was the
It was,
pickleball court quote.
the
and it
quote
was-
contained a reference to a prior project that they had given us a quote for. In the notes of their quote,
Proposal,
it
yeah.
said skate park. In
versus-
Yes, and when it was recorded in the minutes, it stated that I said it had nothing to do with the skate park, but the first part of that wasn't recorded correctly. It should say that, Commissioner Gaffney asked if this was just for the street hockey court and not the skate park, as it states skate park on the quote.
Right.
So we just want to add that, as it states skate park on the quote.
Okay, is there a
In
motion to amend the approval of the minutes, Mr. Sullivan?
Can I make that a motion?
It's been moved by Mr. Sullivan and seconded by
I'll second that.
Mr. Gaffney to approve the minutes of the meeting of February 27th as amended. Any further discussion?
So Bill, are you gonna write it in?
I can, yeah.
Okay, great.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It's unanimous. Next item on our agenda is public participation. I don't see anyone here tonight for public participation, so we'll move right on to the
Thank you.
Director of Parks and Recreation report. Director Regan.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to we had asked Emma Jones to come tonight, and I was just wondering if we could take her out of order so she can go off. She has another appointment, so,
Okay,
We could
seeing
do
no
that.
opposition to taking Emma Jones out of order. Emma, come on up.
so as you all know, Emma Jones, who is our therapeutic recreation specialist, was recently named one of National Recreation and Park Association's top 30 under 30 in the U.S. She was selected from over 100 nominees across 28 states. And NRPA's 30 under 30 honors top young park and recreation professionals who serve as everyday superheroes in their respective communities. We are honored to have Emma as part of our as a member of our team, and we are so excited for her professionally. We would like to recognize her tonight for her hard work and dedication, for not only her to her profession, but to the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department. We are extremely fortunate to have Emma as part of our team. Her work within our department goes beyond just therapeutic recreation. She is a complete team player, always looking to help out any way she can. She is super talented with the computer as well. A lot, if not the majority of our social media posts and our advertising and things like that are created by Emma. And she also does our brochure as well, lays that out. So I can't say enough about Emma and what she means to our department, but we wanted to honor her tonight, and we did. I know you guys wanted to have a chance to thank her for her hard work, and we do have a plaque that we would like to present to Emma this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Brendan. Comments or questions on Emma Jones? Kevin.
Okay, Emma, awesome, awesome. You know what I mean? You look back and you were here, when did you start, like 15 or 16 in the park program?
Yeah, back when I was in high school, I
Yeah.
started. Mhm.
And to evolve to what you are in every meeting we have here, Brendan or Kelly always mention your name, giving you credit for something, and now you're national. So you should probably think about going for a pay raise at this point.
And now that you don't have to vote on it, Kevin, huh?
Right. I can vote on it tonight. I'll make a motion. What, do you want to be a 12 or a 13? What are you, Brendan?
I don't even know. I do it for fun.
Okay, but you want to be a 14. I guess that's a good number in the
Sure.
pay scale.
Sure. Yeah.
No, but thank you.
Thank
And
you very much.
congratulations. It's well-earned, and the department's really, really lucky to have you. The town's lucky to have you, and we're really proud of your success.
Thank you very much. Very fortunate to work for a community that truly values community inclusion and programming for people with disabilities, and to work with Brendan and Kelly every day, as well as the rest of the programming team, is a really great honor. So thank you.
Very good. Any other comments? Bill?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As I mentioned to Emma as I walked in, I saw her father at the grocery store and mentioned the award and how proud we are of her and how proud he is of her. And I think you mentioned that you've got other big news and big events coming up soon, so congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would echo what the other two commissioners have said, and congratulations, and want to say thank you for all the work that you do and the good name that you bring into Burlington. It's the award is very well deserved, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
Did
My
you
turn.
echo the pay raise?
So, Emma, I just want to say that all we hear is good things about you, and it always brings a smile to my face when I'm talking to Brendan about different things that we're doing here and different things that you're spearheading, so we're very fortunate to have you. We're proud of your accomplishments. This is a phenomenal award, and it's well-deserved, and, I think it makes Burlington kind of stand out in the direction that we're going with providing, universal access to children, to all of our programs. So thank you very much for your hard work and for bringing this honor onto this commission. So
Thank you very much.
congratulations.
I really appreciate everyone's kind comments, and I can look forward to continuing work in the Therapeutic Recreation Division, and I hope to, make more of this award in terms of programming and inclusion services, and just make it a really great thing for the town. So thank you very much.
Well, we'll support you, and Brendan has something for you this evening, so I'll turn it over to
Yes,
Brendan.
thank you. So Kelly and I had an opportunity to have a plaque done commemorating your award, your national award. So we would like to present this to you. It is the Parks and Recreation magazine cover that has your picture on it, that went to tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people across the United States. And your article from inside, and just commemorating the year with your name and the year 2023. So we'd like to present this to you, and then maybe we could get a picture, if we can,
Absolutely.
Thank you.
with the commission.
Brendan, who did the computer
wanna go
skills
front
for
of
that?
What's that?
Who did the computer for it?
Why don't we go up in the
If
front?
Emma didn't do it.
No, this one wasn't me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, real nice. Yeah.
All right.
Why don't we all come out in here? Get Brendan.
Great.
Thank you.
Emma, congratulations, fantastic
Thank you
stuff.
very much.
Nice job, Emma.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll get there for the best under 60. I'm over 60, so I can't have what happens, so maybe.
We're capping out.
Bring this to hand and feet afterwards.
That is really creative.
Yeah, that's a great looking award.
while he's folding that up, the NRPA, you can join if you want to. It has a magazine that comes out every month, articles about what the trends are and so forth. All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Emma.
Okay, continuing on, Director Egan.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for taking her now. I know she has somewhere else to be. Just a few things. Our maintenance staff is working on getting things ready for the spring. They were busy plowing snow last week. Luckily, we didn't get as much as they had initially forecast, so heading into next year's winter weather, I don't know if we believe weathermen or not. I guess it's a roll of the dice. But so they have been working on some items over at Town Hall. There are some broken benches that they've been replacing. They're finishing up painting the barrels. They're working on equipment in the garage, maintenance equipment. A couple of our staff have gone off to pool school, which is to become certified pool operators. They're licensed. They all hold the license. They expire, I think, every 3 years, so they renew, or every 5 years, I'm sorry, and then they renew. We had a couple other in a class sponsored through Toro, learning just different techniques of repairing our Toro equipment. So they had a maintenance school for that. And then they've been working on cleaning up after the storm. We had some limbs down in the parks, cleaning up over at MITRE. Those pine trees usually take a hit in the heavier wet storms. And then obviously doing trash still. We unfortunately had another episode of graffiti up at the treehouse. We did, it was the same person group as back earlier in February, or at the end of February. This happened over March 4th and 5th. We filed another police report. They've been very responsive, and they have been going through the footage as well, hoping to identify a similar figure person. But I have not heard back confirmation on if they found a specific person. It was the same things being written up there, and the same areas. They used silver paint this time, a little easier to get rid of or to clean up. In the meantime, I have purchased some motion sensing LEDs that are put in the trees along the ramp, so they'll come on. It will help with the camera on the building, I believe, lighting that area up a little better. This was a temporary measure. If you remember, a few years ago, we bought a motion sensor light for the parking lot over at Regan Park. And when there was an incident over there, I've connected with the same company. We met last week, and he is providing, the Friday of the week before, he's working on a quote. We have a telephone pole with electricity there, looking at a two-armed light fixture, motion sensing that will go on and light up the ramp for the amount of time we determine is best. So then we'll be able to take those other motion sensor lights down. This will be a brighter light that will shine directly down the ramp and up the ramp, hopefully giving us better coverage for the camera. And it, we do have an older camera that a couple of them that were on the poles down at the tennis courts before we redid to the Musco light system. If we have to, we can possibly add that to the telephone pole. It's a little closer to the ramp. I can look into adding that, but we're trying to provide some immediate light when it senses motion after dark, maybe discourage some of the activity that's going on up there. Speaking to the police, they're pretty convinced it's a local, person that is just going up there and tagging. There's no solid suspect yet that I'm aware of, but I will follow back up with them this week and see if they've had any other developments. But since that weekend, we haven't had any further instances at this time. So we'll keep everyone informed of that. And our maintenance guys have gone through, maintenance staff have gone through and cleaned up after each of the incidents. Obviously, the silver paint was a little easier to sand off of the treehouse floor than the black paint that they had used before.
Before we move on, any
Sure.
questions for Brendan on the treehouse?
No, it's just a shame.
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
I
And-
just have a couple of comments, Brendan. I was talking to my son about the damage, and he mentioned to me, and I don't know if the police can help us out with this, he mentioned to me there are infrared cameras that don't need light, that work at night, and that perhaps we could set up some infrared cameras to help find out who's damaging this, the treehouse. I was up there yesterday, and I gotta give kudos to the maintenance department. They're doing a great job, of, getting rid of the graffiti. But at some point, this person might make it very, very difficult to remove it.
Right.
So you might want to think about infrared cameras that don't need light, and maybe the police might have some that they can set up for us.
Okay. Sorry, just,
Moving on, thank you.
yep, sorry. Just taking a quick note. Okay. Last Tuesday, March 7th, we met with the capital budget. On Tuesday, March 7th, we had met with capital budget, had a discussion on our capital request for this year. Discussion went well, and all of our items were approved unanimously. One of the capital budget members, Gary Mercier, is planning to present an article at town meeting to renovate the high school baseball field at Francis Wyman. He would like to demonstrate the warrant process for people who may be interested in the future, town meeting members that may be interested in the future. The project that he is proposing would improve drainage on the infield, replace some of the fencing that was damaged by players playing soft toss, and just the age of the fencing as well, and then put roofs on the dugouts. If approved at town meeting, the project would be overseen by our department. Gary would like to attend a future meeting to get the support of the commission moving forward on the project. So it is, I had the quote prepared for the renovation of the infield. One of the problems now is that the entire site kind of slopes towards the baseball field, towards second base and shortstop. So in heavier rains, the water comes across that field and goes right across, comes down, almost at second base and then down in front of shortstop towards third base. This renovation would raise that level and direct the water, keep the water from getting onto the infield before it went off the site. It doesn't fix the entire site, because that would be a complete re-engineering of the site, would be a pretty substantial project. But this, we believe, will help the baseball field to just drain after a rainstorm and really move the water across. Some of the fencing upgrades that need to be done there, some of the fencing is old, others is, you'll see it's bowed out because they play soft toss, where they toss the baseball, someone hits it right into the fence. There is a batting cage going in there, so hopefully that will help with that. But we do need to, or we would like to make some improvements there. Some of these could be done, some of them could be brought up in the master field plan that the school department is working on as well. But Gary had been looking for a project and to go through the process of, showing town meeting members with 10 signatures, you can get a warrant a warrant article on town meeting and go forward with it. So I have been working with the athletic director. He has some new fence cap to go on the outfield fence. He has a screen for the backstop to kind of dress up the field a little as well. And then with these other projects, if it passes at town meeting, we could see some good improvements to the baseball field. They wouldn't happen until next fall at the earliest anyways, but the idea would be that they would be ready for the following baseball season.
Questions on the baseball field? Comments? Bill, Mr. Gaffney?
Thank you. I think there's something about putting roofs on the dugouts there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So not enclosing the dugouts, with cinder blocks and find too often they're not used for just baseball purposes. They're used for other purposes and become graffiti targets. This would be a cantilevered roof. They're dugouts. They're just open air dugouts. So you keep the fencing and you would put there's 3 posts. It's about 40 feet of dugout, 35 to 40 feet long. So it's a kind of a custom size. It's not a standard dugout size. So we retrofit what we have over both dugouts. So keep the sun off of them.
Any other questions or comments? Just a couple of questions. Do you think, Brendan, that we should wait until we have the master plan done before we start doing this type of work?
So I do not see the master plan, anything coming of that in time for town meeting this year. They're still working on it. There was a draft done, and I think it had some work. Well, in looking at it, it had some work that needed to be done. It didn't include all of the youth sports, fields. So those had to be included in it. This is a project that, I had someone look at it 5 years ago maybe, and had them update the quote and take another look at the site. So I think, there's something we need to do to upgrade that facility. As it falls into what we ask for capital improvements, I think we talked about this when we talked about capital. We're given such a small piece of the pie, our department, that we have other needs that rise above those that help our department function better on a daily basis, and not for how do I say this without coming across as not seeming like I want to do anything there, but there's a number of games there a year, but it's improving the playability there, but there's other things in our department that rise higher than that help us function every day and improve how we function. So it's trying to fit that all in, and I think by having this opportunity from a town meeting member to put a warrant article forward and gain the support,
So
can
this
go
is-
beyond, it would be outside, it wouldn't be counted against our capital.
That was my next question.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yes,
This is
sorry.
going to be, it's going to be funded somehow, but it's not going to be assessed against the recreation department. It's going to be an independent type of a warrant article that's put forward by Mr. Mercier to see if he can get the town to support it.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
Do we have an estimate as to what it's going to cost?
The estimate right now, based on the quotes for the fencing, for the dugouts and the field work, we're in the 140,000 range.
And is the rec department doing any of this work?
No, we would, they would like us to oversee the project.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to clarify. Kevin, did you have a question?
May I just make a
Mr.
comment?
Foss, yes.
Yeah. To add on to what Director Egan was saying about the field master plan and what you were asking a little bit about, some of the preliminary conversations that I've had on the school side are using that field plan to make a a 5 or a 10-year improvement plan, and I think that this is an exciting way to get some of the needed improvements at the baseball field. And I think that Brendan's right, that we might not be able to wait. We might not want to wait because the field needs help. And I think this is an exciting way to, or an interesting and exciting way to get some of that work done.
Thank you. Good comments. Thank you, Brendan.
Okay, thank you. Dog park improvement, the dog park improvement project was put out to bid last Wednesday, and we have a site walk this Thursday at 10 a.m., and bids are due the following Thursday, the 30th, at 10 a.m. So we are working with, also working with the Conservation Department for a determination of applicability, since the renovated area that we're talking about is within 60 feet of the wetlands. So we'll be working with them on that process as well. We're hoping that, we have positive bids that fit within our budget and can get that work taken care of, hopefully before June, if everything goes as planned. So that has gone out. And then finally, last Wednesday, we also appeared before the full Ways and Means Committee to present our FY24 budget. The committee had a few questions on our expenses, more specifically occupancy and some materials and supplies lines, but overall supported the budget. They voted 12-0 to support the our FY24 budget.
Okay, any questions on those two items? All right, moving on.
That is it for now. We took care of Emma. I have some new business items.
Okay. So the next item on our agenda this evening is the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation's report. Ms. Lehman.
Thank you. On March 7th, the program coordinator, Jesse Hampson, and Emma Jones attended a full-day mental health first aid training offered by the National Council for Wellbeing. Mental health first aid teaches participants how to identify, understand, and respond to signs of mental illness and substance use disorders. We are grateful to the Board of Health for the invitation to send some staff for this training. Both Jesse and Emma reported learning quite a bit during this session, and are looking, they're in conversations for the National Council, with the National Council for Wellbeing on how we might be able to modify the training for our summer staff to be able to provide them some youth mental health first aid training during orientation as well. So I'm excited for that. Summer hiring events, we've opened applications for summer positions across the department. Our program staff has attended hiring events at both the University of New Hampshire and Burlington High School. This Wednesday, they will be attending a career fair at Gordon College. And thus far, we have approximately 25 applications across the department as of today. We're still hearing back from some of our summer staff, so we're hoping that we're on track, but we can't definitively say yes yet. But it looks like we're in a pretty good spot. Hopefully. For programming, spring registration began on Thursday, March 9th at 6 p.m. Our office was open from 6 to 8 to answer questions and help residents as they needed it. We want to thank our office staff and program staff for staying and supporting the residents throughout that time. We love that our staff is always willing to go that extra mile and make sure that people are able to register without any bumps in the road. Adult softball has begun. We have started reaching out to teams who have played in the league previously. They have until March 27th to let us know what their intentions are, and after that, we solicit for new teams. We anticipate the season beginning in early May with practices starting in late April. And our basketball and skiing seasons wrapped up in the last few weeks. And the remainder of our programs will be completed in the next week or so. We're getting excited for spring programming and the ability to be outside and do more work. We are searching for a part-time Therapeutic Recreation Program Director. We have 2 candidates currently, so we are excited at that opportunity, but if you know anybody who is interested, please send them our way. Emma is currently interviewing, and hopefully we'll have somebody on board in the next month or so within the position. And our special events, our Easter events are right around the corner. We start with the excursion. The excursion starts next week. It's where eggs are hidden throughout our parks, and families go search throughout the parks and hit the QR code and get points based on the number of eggs they find, how hard they are to find. That's a really successful event that we've kept since COVID. We did it as it was a COVID event, obviously, outside, being able to do it on your own. That has been really successful. We have over 50 families registered so far, so we're excited to get that started. The egg hunt will take place on April 6th at Simons Park. That's a traditional egg hunt with age-divided hunting areas. The bunny's there for photos with some kiddos. We usually have some activities, maybe an arts and crafts project. It's a good day as long as the weather holds out. When it's cold, it's never super fun, but you know, you get to see the bunny and get some eggs, so it's pretty cool. And then we are doing, we've done a virtual bunny hop for the last several years, where we go online and our dance instructor dances with the bunny and they do different dances with the kids. We're going to do it in person this year, so that'll take place, I think it's April 7th. I don't have the date right in front of me. I should have wrote that down, but I didn't. And the last thing is, I shared with you the engagement with Parks report from the National Recreation and Park Association. That report highlights how people engage with parks across the country, and it identified several key points. One of my favorites was that nearly 3 or 4 U.S. residents have at least one park or facility within walking distance of their home, and I think that that's something that we're pretty close to here in Burlington, and something that we should really be proud of. That's all I have.
Very good. Questions or comments for Assistant Director Lehman? Mr. Gaffney?
Yeah, just to validate that, as reading the article, we were at the stage where we're looking to either, move or, do an addition and things like that. And one of the things that my wife said back then, she goes, she really liked it here because of the recreation program, so it validates what that article has stated. So thank you.
Yeah, love that. Thanks, Bill.
Any other comments? Mr. Sullivan?
Well, I had a resident at the therapeutic program on Saturday, out and about, and she asked if the participants could have a ride back to Center School after the bowling. If the van was going back anyways to Center School, could the participants, if they wanted, get a ride back to Center School, to the rec department? She's older, and she was driving on Middlesex Turnpike was an issue for her. And she said if the van's going back, would that be possible? So I said I would mention it at the meetings.
I will. I'll chat with Emma about that.
Okay. You don't have to give an answer.
Okay. I was like, I'll chat
Food
with
for
Emma.
thought, yeah.
If that's something that could accommodate people.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Kelly. Moving on, next item on our agenda is Chairman's Report. I don't really have much to report this evening. Commissioner Sullivan and I did attend the March 15th presentation before Ways and Means. Director Egan did an excellent job presenting our budget, answering questions. It was a 12-0 vote in favor of our budget. There were some good questions that were asked, but I just wanted to extend our appreciation to the Ways and Means Committee. They work very hard, reviewing everyone's budgets. And I said they kind of fly under the radar screen. They do a lot of work for the town of Burlington. They don't get stipends, and they give up a lot of their spare time. So just want to thank them for their support and for the hard work that they put in for the town. one other item, I drove by the Simons new basketball courts on Saturday, and they were mobbed. All four hoops were being used by different groups. It was just a pleasure, put a smile on my face to see them being used so quickly. I don't know, are we going to paint them in April, Brendan?
They will, once the temperatures reach 50 on a regular basis,
Yeah,
I think we're up at the top of the company's list to
maybe in April.
paint.
Right? Yeah,
Hopefully, yes.
yeah.
I'd like it to
But,
be 50
what a
sooner than
great
that.
improvement, though. What a great
Yeah.
improvement. I'm proud of the fact that the commission was able to get that approved by the town. I already mentioned the treehouse. I was up yesterday to the treehouse with my granddaughter just to see if I could observe the graffiti, and it was pretty much gone. I didn't see any. So I don't know how we're getting rid of it, but we're doing a great job getting rid of the graffiti. It was so cold up there. We didn't stay long with the 30-mile-an-hour wind at the top of Simons Park, but I did want to commend the maintenance department for doing a great job keeping that beautiful addition to our town looking so nice. So hopefully we can find out who's doing it and make sure it doesn't continue. That's all I have. Any subcommittee reports tonight? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Director Regan.
Okay, thank you. At our last meeting, we voted the Parks and Outdoor Facility Master Plan. We voted in favor of that, but as Emily, our recording clerk, was going through the minutes, she realized that I made the presentation, but no one ever made a motion to approve the request. So we need a motion, and then we need to take a vote on it. Again, nothing's changed. It was all approved, but for recording purposes, we need to have a motion made.
Okay, at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the expenditure of
$62,000.
$62,000 for the master plan.
I'd like to make that motion and apologize that I didn't make the motion at the last meeting. That
Mr.
was my
Sullivan
fault.
has made the motion. Is there a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will put that motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and that's unanimous. And thanks to Emily for picking up on that.
Yes. Actually, tonight was going to be Emily's last meeting. She is stepping back. She's having a baby and didn't want to overcommit herself. But she let me know today that she was not going to be able to make the meeting. So I just want to take this time to thank Emily for her time doing the minutes for the last year and a half, almost 2 years. And she's been very easy to work with and has done a nice job on the minutes. We do have a new person that will start in April, whenever our next meeting is. And she was going to be watching tonight. She had another meeting that she was doing in a little while, so didn't want to overextend herself. So her name is Jennifer Real, and she will be coming on board in April to take on our minutes for us.
Okay, any comments? Kevin?
Just thank Emily for, if she's watching, she did a great job. You know, the minutes were always perfect. No mistakes, and she was easy to work with and added to the meeting. So I appreciate everything she did for us.
Yes.
And good luck.
Yeah, just to echo that, and one of the things that makes all of our jobs easier is good minutes, and she did excellent minutes. They're very detailed and comprehensive, so, I wish her well. I hope she does well, and I'm sure she wants to come back to some other commission or this commission. There'll be hopefully a position for her someday.
Yeah, she did mention that, as she settles in with motherhood, that, it may be something she wants to come back and do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, did a
and we
great
would
job.
welcome her back.
Good luck. Okay, moving on. Brendan, public participation and vote.
Yes, one more thing before public participation. I had sent everyone an email, as you saw. Our department is going to be honored at the Massachusetts Recreation and Park Association Conference next week. Emma Jones is going to receive a special citation for her work as the therapeutic recreation specialist for the town, based on her being named 30 under 30 as well. So she will be honored next Tuesday at the awards dinner down in Norwood, as I mentioned in the email. And we are also being honored for design of facility for our treehouse. We were nominated through outside other people, other departments. So we're excited and glad that people recognize the work that our staff does here and nominated us for awards. So we're very excited for that. So those will both be next Tuesday night. Our conference this year is in Norwood. We're usually on the Cape or in Sturbridge, sometimes Worcester, but this year we're trying a new venue, so we'll be in Norwood. So I just wanted to mention that before I get to this next item.
Any comments on that new honor, Kevin?
Congratulations, that's awesome. That's really a big thing. Can you give the official award title? It was Best,
Agency of the Year, yeah, based on design of facility.
yeah,
So-
incredible.
Yes.
That's
It is.
awesome.
Yep. So we reached out to everyone involved and asked, and Joshua Simons will be coming down from Vermont. Yes, he is the great-grandson of Marshall Simons, so, and he is one of the trustees, so he will be coming down. So we're excited to have him. It's not too late if anyone wants to go, just let me know. I bet you we could finagle
Are any of the Gillinghams coming?
No, we have not, we've heard back from them, but none of them are able to at this point. I think maybe one more we're waiting on, potentially. So, we'll see.
Okay.
Very good. Congratulations.
Yes, it was great, so we're very excited.
Okay, back to you, Brendan.
Okay, so I had emailed out, we received from town council, wanted to let all the boards and committees and commissions know about the recent ruling from the Supreme Judicial Court, ruled that town's public participation policies for open meeting violates the Commonwealth's Constitution. This was a case involving the town of Southborough, Southborough, yes, thank you. And they handed this ruling down a few weeks back on March 7th. So I had sent out a copy of what town council had suggested that town boards and committees take on as a public participation policy. So I think it's something that we have open for a couple meetings, but if anyone had any suggestions on it, I know we talked about potentially having a time frame. I had a conversation with Steve, maybe a 2-minute time frame for public participation, but it is a suggested policy that we could adopt for our meetings. Allowing people the time to speak, but keeping them on topic, but also giving them a time frame in which to discuss whatever it is that they wanted to discuss at the meeting. So I wanted to know if anyone had any other suggestions before, I add it to our next meeting agenda to for another reading and make sure that we have plenty of time to, I don't want to say debate it, but debate it and discuss it moving forward. So. it
Yeah,
was
just so the commissioners know, I did speak with Brendan briefly, and I informed Brendan that the school committee has a policy during public participation to limit the discussion to 2 minutes, because sometimes we would have 15 people out there. You can't have everybody going on for 5 minutes. So I don't know if we want to have a 2-minute limit, a 4-minute limit, somewhere in between, or a 5-minute limit. We don't get that many public participants here at our meetings, but every once in a while you get a hot button item and the pickleball courts might continue to come up. So we should, I think, at our next meeting, have a conversation about limiting the time frame for each person. It doesn't have to be 2 minutes, but there should be some limit. So then the chair can say, you've reached your maximum time, thank you, and let's move on to the next participant, so everybody gets a chance to speak. So we'll consider this a first reading, Brendan, right? And then Mr. Norton hopefully will be back
Yes.
at whatever date we meet again. So we'll have a full complement of commissioners here, other than unfortunately Kevin, who's decided to move on. A new commissioner, I guess, at our next meeting. While we're on that topic, and I know it's a little bit out of order, but do you have any thoughts about when our next meeting is going to take place?
I don't, maybe based on our next conversation in old business, I have something to talk about that we might want to meet before the elections, maybe one more time. The elections are the weekend of the 2nd, correct?
The first
and
weekend in
2nd?
April, yeah.
Is that what it is, April 1st?
Would have to be next week.
It would have to be next week, so, otherwise, we're looking at the week leading into what is Easter, and then we have 2 more weeks after that. So anything drastic that would have to change before town meeting, too. We have school vacation week mixed in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We are gonna meet with Ways and Means to discuss our capital. That's why I said maybe, if we needed a meeting next week based on our next conversation.
Okay.
So maybe, can we just bring it back up at the end and
Whatever-
finalize
Whatever
the
your
date?
preference is, fine with me.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we just bring it up after this next discussion and see if anything is gonna change?
Steve, on the public participation,
Yes.
in all the years I've had, we've never had someone that we had shut down. And the rec department's always been more interactive and probably more informal than other committees, because we don't get that much public participation, so it seems like we have more of a dialogue if someone comes in. So hopefully it's not too short of a time limit
No, I-
when you pick a time.
I'm not thinking of 2 minutes of myself for
Yeah.
our commission, but
Right.
it was helpful, I think, when I was in the school committee to have we always went over the 2 minutes anyway.
Mhm.
But you need to have something, or the meetings can go on till midnight
Right.
with the schools, as Mr. Foss knows.
With the time limit, it is helpful, but you're right, it doesn't, in my 10 months here, I can count on probably 2 hands the number of public comments we've had.
Yeah.
So it's not, Kevin's right, it's not really an issue here, but on the days when there is an issue, when we can say, okay, that's been 3 minutes, can you wrap it up, it is helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Any other comments on the public participation policy? Okay. Floor is yours, Brendan.
We moving on to old business?
Well, we're ready.
All right. So, after our last meeting, or when we discussed capital projects and, we had a discussion at Town Hall on, with town administration on our capital projects. In looking at, taking the consideration, the discussion we had with some of the neighbors about, is there anywhere else the courts can go? We really haven't still identified an area where we could move these courts altogether. But I did some more walking around on the current street hockey court where we'd like to make a swap with street hockey and pickleball. And, the court surface is, there's no major cracks or anything big in that surface. I think the variations that are there that kind of hold the water after a rainstorm, maybe hold them a little longer than obviously the current pickleball courts down below. But looking at it and trying to be, a little more conservative with our spending, I got to thinking about, can we just resurface those courts as far as top surface, putting new latex on there, repainting, coring the pickleball post in there, the net post, and then painting the lower courts for street hockey, bringing up the Acoustablock panels. In the company that provided me with the quote to renovate the courts originally said, you know, we have small variations in the surface, not anything that, you know, a pickleball hits it, it's going to go wacky way at some point. And people do go up there and play because some of the lines are still down. They were taped on there and the lines still show. I think we might want to investigate, and I'm waiting for a quote to provide just a new latex surface, when I say core, drill into the court surface, the new posts, and maybe provide some fencing repair. But when we were looking at the graffiti, I was standing up there with Bill Baker, and he said, you know, the fence there isn't in bad shape either, so, you know, need some minor adjustments. But looking at the cost to do that, you know, is much more palatable than completely renovating the courts at $84,000. So I'd like to quickly over the next week or so, hopefully I can get a quote in, but look at the possibility of, you know, maybe cutting that in half even. But, you know, we still have the decision of, is this just a temporary solution? You know, in balancing, trying to provide some relief for the neighbors with continuing with pickleball, which is a very popular sport, and you know, with our pickleball participants, you know, I think, you know, moving them up there, in my opinion, I think it will be a help for those neighbors, because we are moving them further away. They're going up a little higher. We are going to bring the Acoustablock panels up there, and I think that it might be enough help for the neighbors that it will be a difference. You know, moving street hockey down there, down below, they're not there as much as pickleball, but it is something that, you know, I'm really looking for the commission to you know, make a stand on. If we move them, they're going to stay there. You know, down the road, if we can develop courts elsewhere, that's great. But, you know, we need to have a spot for the pickleball players. So just looking for some comments tonight if we want to explore that option, and then look at, you know, we can work on the Mary Cummings thing and push that a little more if we can. Something tells me they're not going to be receptive to that. They're not receptive to our emails asking them, you know, with the questions we have for them. So I just trying to provide some relief for the neighbors, but also keep pickleball courts active and people playing.
Okay, opening up for comments or questions. Mr. Gaffney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, a couple of things at the planning board. The district came before us to add, I think, 4 more buildings and 2 parking garages. It doesn't need town meeting approval. I believe it's under the existing PDD, but they are putting in a park between 2 of the 6-story buildings there. They put I think a podium up one side for music, but a fairly large footprint of a park, and I threw out the possibility of throwing a pickleball court in there. I don't know if you've talked to Melissa or Liz on that one. That might be a perfect spot as well. But in general, with this particular option, I really like it. I thought a little bit more of it, and even with the Acoustablock, with the sound, and understanding the neighbors, we've got that stone wall that goes right along the walkway there, that even though you have the Acoustablock, that's where the opening is, and the sound can, you know, bounce off of that. Well, you don't have that up at the top, right? So if you do the Acoustablock, and then the sound's gonna be going out towards the woods out there, I think, you know, with that, with just a small overlay, I think that'd be a nice alternative, and I think hopefully the neighbors will think that's a big improvement and not disrupt their daily lives, which I understand it does today.
Right, we would keep, you know, the current set of rules that you can't start pickleball before certain times, and, you know, we'd limit it at night and things like that. You know, I'm just, want to give relief, but I don't want to take pickleball from, you know, people who enjoy playing it in a park that should be, that is open to everybody.
Outdoors, you know,
Right.
I understand the indoor.
Right,
concept.
yeah, we don't have, I know there was a couple suggestions about moving it indoors, but, you know, the schools, we're using schools for programs in the summer already. They can't be dedicated indoor, you know, schools operate throughout the year, as we all know, but then after school, there's programs that go on, so.
And people don't want to play indoors. People want to play outdoors to get
Right.
fresh air and.
Right, that's part of it
Yeah.
as well, so.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Foss.
Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it's a great idea if we can save money, you know, it's always going to be well received. And just looking forward as the school field report draft becomes finalized and the park report comes in, some of those conversations that I've been having, we're mentioning a field improvement committee of some kind, and I think that one of the agenda items should be pickleball courts and where they can go, where they're not going to bother as many people. And, you know, I mean, I agree with you that pickleball is important to have, but the providing the relief as much as we can for the neighbors is should be a priority as well. Thanks.
Mr. Sullivan.
So, through the chair to Brendan, were we asked to reduce our warrant articles, or was that part of the motive on this?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, what they have us penciled in at, we're within 20,000. But looking at, you know, the cost of that project alone, no, that wasn't a motivation. I mean, we had the discussion here about, the neighbors wished we could move them completely, right? But we don't have anywhere to do that. The idea that we have with Mary Cummings is far down the road. They're not, you know, the city of Boston isn't responsive. But looking at our other options, there really aren't any. We don't have any parks that aren't in neighborhoods. And Kelly just mentioned the engagement report, and, you know, mentioned how we're close within, you know, a mile of a park. Everybody is. So we just don't have the land to do that.
Okay. Next thing is it going to be as safe as a new replacement? You know, doing it completely over compared to the current, there's cracks up there and so forth, aren't there?
No, there's not cracks. It's small variations, and you can see where the water tends to stay after rain. We just call it stained. We were there again today. You could just see where the water, but, you know, a squeegee to push the water to help it dry, right? So there's probably 3 courts, 2.5 courts that don't have any kind of variation where water would rest. And then the other 1.5 courts, you know, there's 1 court all the way down by the woods that probably has the largest area of where water would stay. And we're talking like maybe an inch, not even. But when they played up there, we didn't hear complaints when we moved it for that couple weeks. And after, the courts down below would be full, people would bring their own nets and play up on the upper surface. I think the surface looks different because they have a gray paint on it. It's a lighter paint, so it shows all the asphalt still. Once you go to green, you know, I think it's gonna, you're adding an inch of latex anyway. So I think you might see some of those variations become perfectly level, or as close to perfectly level. I mean, there's a pitch because the water has to run off, but.
I understand. I just would hate for us to save money, have something be unsafe, or, that would be a concern.
Yeah, I don't, it's not unsafe for street hockey. We're playing street hockey up there. They play on rollerblades, they play on feet, with their, sneakers and stuff. Our Simon's program plays up there. Our preschool program goes in there and plays. It's not unsafe. It was more of trying to fix the variations and just putting a top coat on there. Doesn't matter how much work we were putting in, it was gonna be expensive because of, we talked about the handwork and stuff involved as well. I was hoping in-house we could do it, but, our staff, speaking with Highway at one point last summer or fall, it's not work they're set up to do necessarily, so.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
I'm trying to explore all the avenues and options that we have, and trying to come up, I don't think we're ever gonna come up with the perfect solution that everyone is gonna be happy. Unless we have a giant benefactor that buys us a building that has, dedicated 6 indoor pickleball courts. So,
Bill, did you have
Thank you,
one more?
Mr. Chairman. Just an added thought that now we're talking about that. Maybe it'd be beneficial to have it be, slightly irregular or not a pro surface where there may be some folks that are better players, out-of-town players that come here because the courts currently that we have are very, very, very nice courts. And I think you said, you see through, social media that people come out of town because of the condition of them. So, if for folks that maybe aren't at that level, want to play on some, some nice courts, but not necessarily at that level, and the other people go to other towns, might be a benefit.
I think when they're, have a fresh coat of latex on them and the courts are all marked out, not gonna be able to tell the difference between what was down below and what is up above. But ultimately, we want to look at it as an expenditure, an improvement to the park going forward and not a temporary fix.
What's that? I think it's a good idea, a good approach. I was reading in the Globe the other day that there was a lawsuit filed by some neighbors down on the South Shore, and the judge issued an injunction stopping all use of the courts. And if we sink $84,000 into this court, then we can't use it, we're gonna be second-guessed, I think. So maybe we cut that number in half, and of course, there are other uses for this court if we can't use it for pickleball. But I think it's a practical approach, and I think town meeting will support it. I don't see why they wouldn't support a scaled-down version. And I think it's a good approach, Brendan. So I appreciate you coming up with this alternative, and I support it.
Okay. And in the meantime, if that's what we choose to do, in the meantime, if something miraculously came up, obviously, we could pull the article until we could, get all the other ducks in a row for the fall and go back in the fall and say, we were coming in the spring, but we had some.
Have you looked at Mitre Field at all? Maybe out in the outfield someplace?
We have that somewhere that we have looked at, and there is an agreement. We don't own that property necessarily. There's an agreement with the Mitre Corp to utilize that. So we're looking into that.
Yeah, might be an option. And again, you don't necessarily have to pave it. You can use clay, you can use pervious surfaces that are very much in vogue now with conservation commissions. It looks like a regular surface. I think they use it at Logan Airport, but it's pervious, so the water goes right through it. And it doesn't puddle. It's very good, it's a very good alternative, so. Okay, anything else on the pickleball discussion? Seeing nothing, we will move forward. There's no need for executive session. If there's any other old or new business tonight, anyone would like to bring up? All right, how about the next meeting, Brendan?
Okay. So would you like to try to have one before,
Can we get a quorum? Is anybody not available next week? Kevin, would you?
Yes,
Want to
I'm
have one final meeting? This is your penultimate meeting now. You go to next week.
Sure. I'm gonna come up with some motion. For the
Mr.
next
Foss, can you
meeting.
make next Monday?
Monday's fine.
I can make it
Mr.
too.
Gaffney, you can do it? I can do next Monday as well, if I'm
So
not mistaken.
do you want to hold that, and we would be having it for the purpose of discussion on, getting quote
have a
in for,
bid?
yes.
Yeah.
So, but Monday, no, Kelly's not here. Thursday, does Thursday work? Tuesday and Wednesday, there's the, we'll be at the conference. But does anyone, how does Thursday work for people?
Would this would be the only agenda item?
Yeah,
So it'd be short? I could do Thursday if it's short.
but let's try to get a consensus. I think Dave's away all next week, too, or is he?
I
He was
could do
away last
Thursday.
week and this week.
Could you do Thursday, Kevin?
Yes.
I don't know about Dave Norton, but he's usually pretty flexible. He'll be
Yeah.
back from wherever he is.
And Bill?
28th, that
The
looks like I can
30th?
make that.
You're more likely to have the information that we need for the meeting if we wait till Thursday?
Right,
Okay.
okay. So,
Bill, you can make it?
So let's agree that our next meeting will be March 30th, which is a Thursday at 6. And Brendan, can you shoot an email over to Mr. Norton?
I will. And I'll have to find a location in case this is
Yeah, we'll be
taken, so,
flexible.
all right.
Okay, is there any further business to come before the commission this evening?
Just wanted to wish everyone a happy start of spring at 5:24 today. Let's hope it gets warmer.
Let's hope we get no more snow.
Yes.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I make that motion?
Mr. Sullivan has moved to
Second.
adjourn, seconded by Mr. Gaffney. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, and that's unanimous.